We live in a culture obsessed with action, with doing, with making things happen. But what if everything you've been told about manifestation is backwards? What if chasing your desires is exactly why they stay out of reach? In quantum manifestation, this mindset doesn't just fail, it repels. Quantum reality isn't linear. It doesn't respond to urgency, it responds to coherence. Coherence begins when your inner state matches the reality you claim to want. Most people try to attract abundance while vibrating with lack. They visualize love while radiating loneliness. They affirm freedom while embodying fear. That contradiction is what the field reacts to. Not the words, not the vision board, not the ritual. Here's the twist no one mentions. Manifestation doesn't happen because you asked. It happens because you became. In quantum terms, the field, a matrix of infinite potential, isn't moved by effort. It responds to resonance. That means your role isn't to push, but to align, to stop chasing and start embodying. This is where most get stuck. They hear phrases like, feel as if it's already yours, or vibrate as if you have it, but it feels forced, unrealistic. That's because they miss the paradox. The state of allowing is the state that draws. The observer effect in quantum physics proves that observation changes outcomes, but only when paired with expectancy, not desperation. When you observe reality through trust and knowing, the wave collapses into form. But when you observe through fear and urgency, the wave stays uncollapsed. Just potential, never reality. Pause here. This isn't about blame. It's about realizing how your energy communicates with the universe. Think of tuning a radio. If you're trying to hear 98.7 FM but your dial is on 88.1, no matter how badly you want the song, you'll never hear it, unless you adjust the frequency first. That's quantum manifestation. Not asking the universe to deliver, but tuning into the frequency where that version of your life already exists. This is where ancient wisdom and modern science meet. Neville Goddard often spoke about living from the end, embodying the emotional state of your desired outcome now. Joe Dispenza explains how the brain and heart must align, sending a unified signal to the quantum field. Abraham Hicks calls it entering the vortex, that emotional sweet spot where resistance fades and receiving begins. Here's the real issue. Simplicity frightens the ego. We've been conditioned to believe value comes from effort, that change requires struggle, that progress demands hustle. But in the quantum realm, it's the opposite. The more you chase, the more you confirm lack. The harder you push, the more resistance grows. That's why this video is titled, Quantum Manifestation is Simple. That's why so few grasp it. Because simplicity isn't flashy, it doesn't sell, it isn't dramatic, but it's where the real shift happens. In the next sections, we'll dive deeper. We'll explore how to rewire your vibration, how the field mirrors your inner state, and how to finally live as the version of you who doesn't chase, but attracts. But first, sit with this. The life you want already exists. In quantum terms, all possibilities exist simultaneously. Your only task is to align with that reality, not through force, but frequency. So stop chasing and start embodying. Not tomorrow, not when the money arrives, not when the partner appears. Right now. That's when the field starts responding. If your outer world is a mirror, what exactly is it showing? Most people approach manifestation like a checklist. Visualize daily, recite affirmations, write goals 10 times. While these practices can help, they often turn into hollow rituals, trying to change the reflection without changing what's being reflected. The truth? The quantum field doesn't react to your words. It responds to your state of being. And being isn't an act. It's not faking abundance while stressing over bills. It's not about claiming to trust the universe while secretly fixating on timelines. Being is alignment, a vibrational match between your inner world and the reality you want to experience. Joe Dispenza puts it this way: your thoughts are electric and your emotions are magnetic. Together, they create an electromagnetic field that broadcasts your state of being into the quantum field. That field, which holds every possible reality, adjusts itself based on the signal you're sending. Not what you want, but what you embody. Let's unpack that. Say you want financial freedom. If you're constantly anxious, checking your bank account and imagining disaster, your electromagnetic signal is one of lack. And lack doesn't attract abundance, it draws more lack. The field isn't judging you, it's just mirroring your energy. Here's the key. The fastest way to shift your signal isn't to chase a new future, it's to become it, to live it now, to practice the frequency of your desired reality until it feels true. Not as a fantasy, but as a memory. Because somewhere in the multiverse, that version of you already exists. And when you align with it, emotionally and mentally, you pull that possibility into your reality. This isn't just positive thinking. Neuroscience proves the brain rewires itself through mental rehearsal. When you visualize a future event and summon the emotions, gratitude, joy, peace, your brain builds neural pathways as if it's real. Keep it up, and your body accepts the future before it arrives. And once your body believes, the field answers. Neville Goddard taught this years ago. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He wasn't telling you to pretend. He meant merge with it. Let the feeling of your desired reality outweigh your current situation. Let it feel so natural that your nervous system adjusts to it. Because here's what most miss. Manifestation isn't begging the universe for help. It's stepping into the shoes of the version of you already living that life, and pulling that self into the present. Not through force, but through harmony. And when that harmony stays steady, the field reflects it as your experience. A shift happens when you stop looking for signs and start being the sign. When you stop chasing synchronicities and start embodying them, reality bends. Time seems to fold. Everything falls into place. Not by luck, but by coherence. In quantum mechanics, observation collapses the wave function, turning potential into reality. But not all observation holds the same power. Observation charged with trust and clarity collapses reality more effectively than observation clouded by fear and doubt. So ask yourself, which version of reality are you observing from within? When people act as if, it's not about faking confidence or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about embodying the emotional stance of someone who already knows. Someone who doesn't wait for proof, but becomes the evidence before it arrives. This is how you master your frequency. And once you do, you don't attract reality. You become the gravity that pulls it in. Now, understanding that the quantum field doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. The next question is, how do you collapse possibility into form? Quantum physics shows that all potential realities exist in superposition. Your dream job, your ideal relationship, your financial breakthrough. They aren't distant hopes, but present potentials, waiting to be chosen. Yet they don't materialize just because you think of them. They become real when your observation, your focused awareness, collapses the wave. But not just any observation. This isn't passive glancing. The quantum field responds to charged focus. Observation infused with belief, trust, embodiment, and energetic alignment. When you feel your future as if it's already here, you imprint that reality onto the unified field. You don't chase it, you anchor it, and in response, the universe aligns. Joe Dispenza teaches that this demands coherence, a sync between brain and heart. Most people live in mental noise and emotional mismatch. Their thoughts crave one thing, while their emotions broadcast lack. Their actions are scattered, driven by fear or doubt. In that state, the field can't lock onto a clear frequency to reflect. When your brain and heart sync up, your signal grows stronger. You're no longer sending mixed messages. You're broadcasting a clear frequency of trust, gratitude, and certainty, the mark of someone who's already become what they once dreamed of. Let's break this down from a neurobiological standpoint. When you feel an emotion, your body releases matching chemicals. Gratitude triggers dopamine and oxytocin. Trust produces serotonin. These chemicals don't just boost your mood, they alter your entire physiology, and that state becomes your point of attraction. If you can generate these emotions without waiting for external validation, you take back your creative power. You're no longer just reacting to life, you're directing it. And this is how reality starts to change. Neville Goddard often said that your assumptions solidify into fact. Here's what he meant. Your persistent emotional assumptions create a gravitational pull that reshapes your world. The outer reflects the inner. And this isn't just philosophy, it's physics, supported by what we now know about the unified field: observer effect, entanglement, and coherence. The observer effect shows us that what you focus on expands. More than that, it transforms. You're not just watching a future unfold, you're crafting it, moment by moment, with every thought, emotion, and choice. So how do you sustain this? How do you live as if your desired reality is already here? This is where most people stumble. They tap into the frequency briefly during meditation or journaling, but then revert to worry, doubt, mindless scrolling, and reinforcing their old identity. That's like planting a seed and digging it up daily to check for growth. Manifestation demands energetic consistency, not perfection, but returning again and again to the version of you who already has it. Not just in thought, but in feeling. Not just in words, but in action. Even in small ways. Walk as if. Breathe as if. Decide as if. Because every tiny alignment adds up. Every moment you choose coherence over fear, presence over distraction, you strengthen the quantum blueprint of your new reality. Here's where it gets thrilling. Once you stabilize that vibration, reality starts responding with what many call synchronicity. Unexpected opportunities, intuitive nudges, sudden clarity, people appearing at just the right time. And it's not magic. It's the field rearranging itself around your signal. You'll know you're nearing the breakthrough when you feel it in your bones. Not as excitement or impatience, but as quiet certainty. A deep knowing, an unshakable sense of inevitability. That's when you stop asking, where is it? And start feeling, it's already mine. At this point, you've moved from wishful thinking to energetic creation. You've crossed the threshold between possibility and embodiment. And here, something begins to shift. Not just in your outer world, but in how you perceive it. You no longer need validation because your frequency is its own proof. You've collapsed the wave, and the life you once imagined is now imagining you back. Once you start living from the end, not toward it, everything changes. But let's be honest, this is where most people stall. Not because they lack belief, but because they don't know how to become what they desire. They try to think their way into a new life without embodying it. They hope for change while repeating the same patterns. And the field doesn't respond to hope. It responds to unwavering certainty. Quantum manifestation isn't about positive thinking until magic happens. It's about matching the energy of the timeline you're calling in. That timeline, that version of you, already exists. You're not creating it from nothing. You're choosing it by aligning to its frequency. How do you know you're aligned? You stop fixating on the how. You stop seeking validation, signs, or guarantees. You react less to the outer world and tune in more to your inner guidance. As Abraham Hicks often says, you can't get there from there. Meaning, you can't manifest freedom, peace, or fulfillment from a place of lack, frustration, or desperation. You must act, decide, and most importantly, feel as if you're already there. Then, something mysterious unfolds. You begin attracting new thoughts, not the ones you force, but the ones that belong to that version of you. Your intuition sharpens. You sense doors opening. Synchronicities grow clearer. Reality feels malleable. Time twists in unexpected ways. It's as if life speeds up to meet you. Joe Dispenza explains that in high-frequency states, gratitude, love, awe, your brain and heart sync in gamma coherence. In this state, your nervous system rewires for new possibilities. Your energy becomes magnetic. Manifestation flows effortlessly. Not because you're pushing, but because you've become the conduit for that reality. This is why we say, stop chasing. Start calling in. It's not about effort, it's about alignment. If you've ever had a moment where everything clicked, where opportunities appeared effortlessly, or someone voiced your exact thoughts, you've felt the quantum field mirroring your alignment. Now imagine choosing that state at will. That's the work here. And now, let's speak to your subconscious. Because this message found you for a reason. You've likely felt your manifestations take too long, that maybe something's blocking them, that perhaps you're doing it wrong. But here's the truth. You've always been closer than you think. The fact that you're hearing this now proves your field is ready to shift. You're not broken. You're not behind. You don't need to chase anything. You need to steady the version of you who no longer chases. The one who knows. The one who moves with quiet certainty and grounded magnetism. That version of you already exists. And every moment you choose to remember that, you close the gap between now and your desire. So let this be the moment you stop trying and start remembering. Let this be the moment you become the version of you who lives as if it's already done. Let this be the quantum leap where you shift from waiting to being. And now, here's something powerful to anchor this shift. If this message resonates, if you feel the stirrings of your next level aligning, comment 777.7 below. Why 777? Because in numerology and spiritual traditions, 777 is the number of divine alignment. It's a vibrational code that signals your path is unfolding as it should. When you see 777, it's not just a sign, it's a mirror. A reflection that your inner reality is syncing with your highest potential. Proof that your manifestation isn't just valid, it's already alive in your field. So when you type 777, you're not just engaging, you're activating, you're claiming your alignment, you're becoming a beacon for what you're ready to receive. And in doing so, you amplify the frequency, not just for yourself, but for everyone here. That's how the field works. It magnifies what we affirm together. So go ahead, type 777 in the comments. See who else does. Notice what shifts in your field after this. Let this be your declaration to the universe. I no longer chase, I attract, because I already am. If there's one thing the quantum field whispers to those who listen, it's this. There's nothing to wait for. Every version of your life, every timeline, every possibility, every potential reality already exists. It's not something you force into being, it's something you align with. And the shift doesn't take years of effort or complicated methods. It starts the moment you stop looking for signs outside and start living as the signal within. Think about this. The reality where your manifestations are already real isn't some distant place. It's vibrationally close. You don't need to leap into it. You just need to stop resonating with the one you're leaving behind. This is what Neville Goddard meant when he said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled." This isn't a game of wishful thinking. It's the science and sacredness of self-selection. You're not asking life to change. You're declaring, "This is who I am now." And the field, utterly obedient to coherence, responds. But there's a catch. You can't fake it. You can't pretend to feel abundance while anchoring yourself in doubt. You can't chant affirmations from fear. You can't meditate into a new life while clinging to the old one. The quantum field isn't fooled by surface rituals. It only hears the vibration beneath your thoughts. And that's where your true power lies. So how do you live from this power? You practice coherence. You choose, again and again, to return to alignment. Not once, not when it's easy, but as devotion, as a lifestyle, as your way of being. You speak differently. You move differently. You treat others and yourself as the person you've become. Soon, you won't be acting, you'll be it. This is the quantum secret behind manifestation that few discuss. Not because it's hidden, because it's simple. Too simple for a mind hooked on complexity. Too gentle for a world obsessed with struggle. But that simplicity is your key. The less you force it, the more reality reshapes itself around you. Let yourself trust this. Let yourself stop waiting for proof and be the proof. And remember, the most powerful manifestations don't come with fireworks. They arrive in ordinary moments, felt deeply in your body. A change in breath, a sudden calm, a certainty. The universe speaks softly when it delivers what you've already claimed. So now I ask you, what if the shift you've been waiting for is waiting for you to stop waiting? What if your next timeline is watching you right now, waiting for the signal that says, "I'm ready"? Let's close the gap. If that resonates, leave a comment below sharing your experience, your intention, or just your affirmation. Let this space be more than a video. Let it be a portal. Let your words here anchor into the quantum field. And as you scroll through, notice, you're not alone. We are a field, a wave, a movement, and your clarity strengthens the whole. If this video awakened something in you, consider subscribing. Not just for content, but for connection. This channel is a sanctuary for those who know the universe is listening. For those ready to become what they've been calling in. You're not becoming powerful. You already are. You're not learning to manifest. You're remembering how reality answers you. And the moment you stop chasing and start aligning, that's when manifestation flows effortlessly. And that's when the magic begins.